A Stanley Cup half full for the Florida Panthers, surviving and thriving after Draisaitl knocked out Barkov. This isn't the Oprah Winfrey Show. My feelings don't matter. Oh, but they do, Marty. But they do. Panthers cruising, and Dejanay Carrington. I've been here before. Gotta let the ref know what they're doing to you while looking cool doing it. Let's go around the horn.
Like Steinfeld, to the back, to the left. Back to the left. Read the bit.
4 unanswered goals for Florida last night, and very few shots for Edmonton. Where were the shots from McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman? Sergei Bobrovsky only had to make 18 saves, gets another win in this series, and even without Barkov after that hit, Florida 2-0. Around the horn, Marcel Louis-Jacques. Did your Panthers just figure it all out?
Yes, lifelong Panther fan over here. No, I think they're getting non-star contributions. When you're getting, a two-piece from Evan Rodriguez, you're getting gold from Nico Mikkola. Like, you don't have to go to the Kachucks and the Barkovs and the Verhaeghes in order to beat them, and that's dangerous for Edmonton. And then Florida's just playing exemplary defense right now. I think I saw this stat. Over the past 15 games, they have killed 95% of power plays. That is the best in the NHL right now. Then Sergei Bobrovsky, for you asking where's Edmonton's shots, when they do get a shot, their reward is trying to get one past the best keeper in the league right now. He's allowed 2 or fewer goals in 12 of his last 13 starts right now. Like, it is one of 5 goalies to ever do that in postseason history. So, yeah, Paul Morris said his feelings don't matter. This isn't the Winfrey Show. But Edmonton better get out of their feelings, or this one is big over. You could see that frustration starting to boil over there in the third period.
Harry Lyles Jr., did the Panthers figure it all out?
I don't know that there was anything to figure out. I think we're seeing a lot of what we thought going into the series play out. You have the Edmonton Oilers, who have what I think are the 2 best players in this series in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and you have the Florida Panthers, who are also immensely talented, but are a much more deep and complete team. And you have seen that play out over the course of this series, and I think the place that Edmonton gets hurt by this is when you are the time that you are of most benefit is when we saw those 4v4s last night, and they still really weren't able to capitalize except for one play. I think in the first period it was that they were actually able to do that. But the bigger point being, when McDavid and Draisaitl are getting 15 shots and they have 0 goals in 2 games, that is an absolutely massive losing recipe if you are Edmonton. And it's even worse when you're playing a Florida team that is best when the game is on the line. In the third period, they are plus 14 in goals in this postseason. That is the best among any team, and that becomes even worse when you're playing an Edmonton team that's minus 8. It's curtain.
Listen to the stats from this panel today. Bill Plaschke, I turn to you. Did the Panthers figure it out?
Yes, it's figured out. This series is over. I'm calling it now over, but it's not a big leap of faith to say that. 91% of teams that lead 2-0 go on and win the Stanley Cup Finals. That's an incredible stat. And it shows in this series that they've just beaten down the Oilers. They've beaten them down physically. They've beaten them down mentally. 5-on-5, they're a much better team. They allowed not even one high danger shot yesterday in the 5-on-5. They have led. Edmonton, Draisaitl. They have 0 for 15 in games in which he does not score a point. He hasn't scored a point. McDavid's been terrible. And Bouchard gave up 2 goals yesterday. Edmonton, they're in their heads. This series is over.
Okay, so none of that can change when things move to Edmonton. That's what I'm trying to piece out here. Frank Isola, did the Panthers figure it out? Is there any response the Oilers have?
You know, last Friday you admonished the panel for not mentioning Sergei Bobrovsky in our preview.
Yes.
And in theory, you were right, but I think we all knew that he would be this dominant.
We all know. You and Lyles know
Hang
everything.
on.
I don't understand how this is your tact for a debate.
He gave up 1 goal in Game 6 against the Rangers. He's only given up 1 goal in the first 2 games here. So I don't think they're ever going to figure him out. But I will say this, and you showed the play before with Leon Draisaitl, forearm or an elbow into the side of the head of Alexander Barkov. You know, at the time it's 2-1. The game is still very much alive. That to me is showing a lack of mental strength. You're doing something which makes no sense. That's a sign of weakness. Are you trying to send a message? Even if they didn't score, which they did, Evan Rodriguez ended up scoring his second goal there, the power play goal. You still have to be on the penalty kill for 2 minutes with 9 minutes left. That to me made no sense. I thought that told you a lot about that series, that one play right there by Draisaitl.
And how Florida was able to add to the lead after they lost Barkov, who's such a key player in this series. All right. Still, I'm not surprised by anything. I love when a panel tells me they're not surprised by anything. Were you surprised by this? This mute right here? Were you surprised by that?
No.
We'll move on. No. NBA Finals off day. Luka Doncic cooking up a plan for a Mavs bounce back. Here's what he said. We got to make shots, we got to make free throws, and less turnovers. Frank, is that the path to victory here? How do you review his plan?
I think part of it is, and I know there's a lot of tired sports cliches, but one that's kind of true is role players tend to play better at home. But I think this is about Kyrie Irving. Kyrie in 2 games has a total of 28 points. Drew Holiday had 26 in game 2. So Kyrie Irving right now, 13 for 37 shooting the ball, 0 for 8 on threes. Kyrie has been very good. Maybe it's being up in Boston, the crowd getting on him. But when he's isolated on guys like Sam Hauser or it's Al Horford, he's got to cook. He's got to do something. And Kyrie needs to be a lot better if Dallas wins Game 3. Because let's face it, you don't win Game 3, as Bill says, it's over.
Okay, but for then Doncic's preview here of what we're going to do differently, he didn't mention Kyrie. He mentioned...
Well, I think because I think because he wants to put it all on himself. And I will say this about Kyrie and Luka. They both took responsibility for the Game 2 loss, which is actually a good thing, and they're both right. But Kyrie has to be much
Bill Plaschke,
better.
how do you review Doncic's path to
Luka's
victory?
just being a good leader. He's just taking the whole thing on himself. But it's about Kyrie. Frank's right. It's all about Kyrie. Okay. He shot 32% this series on contested shots. I mean, off the dribble. He was 48% in previous playoffs. He's not getting his shots. 17 of 18 shots were contested. He hadn't made a three-pointer. I think that the boss is in his head. I think the fans got to him. I think the players got to him. The scene got to him. He's got to come out of his shell, and he's got to come out of it now.
All right, that's 2 panelists to say the path and only path to victory is Kyrie plays better. Harry, how do you see it?
I think that's a piece of it. I think, first off, it's funny that Luka tried to put any of this on him, considering he had so much bandaging on him before the game. He looked like a mummy and then went out there and had a triple-double. So the fact that he would try to take any blame for this is incredible, and I think speaks to how much of a leader he is. I do think Kyrie has to be better. The place that I have issue with is less about his scoring and more about his lack of assists. He has 8 assists in these first 2 games, and I think the big piece of that is because you saw those contributions from those role players, whether it was Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively in the last series, where you saw, okay, when the Dallas Mavericks are at their best, this is what that looks like. We have not seen that through the first 2 games of this series, and I think they're really going to regret not taking advantage of two lukewarm Jason Tatum games, and you didn't steal one at home, going against a Boston team for as much struggles that they've had at home. On the road, they've won 8 consecutive games, which is the 3rd longest streak in NBA history. So it's not like this is going to get any easier just because you're going back to Dallas.
And Marcel, make shots, fewer turnovers, and shoot your threes. Is that the path to victory?
Yeah, Tony, I think Luka's got like a off-season trip to France on his mind because he said we instead of y'all. Like, Kyrie, you cannot have more field goal attempts than points. Derek Jones Jr., you cannot go 0 for 3 when you've got an average of 10 feet of cushion between you and the nearest defender. You guys have to help me out because I'm doing everything I can. Luka's not without blame. I think he was blown by 13 times in Game 2. It's the most in any single game since the stat was tracked in 2013.
Listen to that. Now, okay. Thank you for pointing that out, because you've all said Luka doesn't deserve any blame. He had 8 turnovers as well. If another player had 8 turnovers in a finals game, Jason Tatum, you guys would be pounding him right now. Luka had 8 turnovers. Man. Go ahead, Marcel.
He could play better. He could play better, but he's so exhausted from having to exert all that energy on the offensive side of the ball.
He's the only player
I guess you can understand. It's not an excuse.
It seems like, wow, I think our mute button, hold on a second.
Not me.
The mute button's not working today.
Keep talking, Tony.
Yeah, no.
Yes. Oh, and ain't that funny when the rabbit got the gun, huh?
This is unbelievable to me. Wow. I am surprised. You know how you guys say you never saw? I am surprised. The mute button broken. Chaos on the set of Around the Horn. One more thing. As we have an off day for the finals,
Mine worked.
we can all remark on Joe Mazzulla's recall of plays. Listen to this.
We gave up a 26-point first quarter and then 3 25-point quarters. In the 26-point first quarter, we fouled a 3-point. We messed up the 2 for 1 and fouled a 3-point shooter. For 3 free throws, Luka gets 2 shooting free throws. We give up a transition basket to P.J. Washington. P.J. Washington hits an above the break 3. That's almost 70% of the points.
He's Italian. What do you want? He's smart.
Incredible. Buy or sell. Next. It's like the pit roll here at the Indy 500 during our commercial break. All right, let's take it for a test drive. No, they're still broken.
alive.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
You guys
Sounds like
are
it's
free
time
for
to
the
cause
rest of
problems
the
on
show.
Tremendous. Let's do it.
Okay, let's go. Buy or
Narrative.
sell.
Optics.
One of the
narrative.
worst head coaching jobs in the history of organized basketball. Unadulterated mess. Embarrassing. Humiliating. The Lakers are no longer the Lakers. Who wrote it? Oh, Bill Plaschke. I love you. I love you forever.
Send it to the Pulitzer Committee.
We're going to buy
Send it
or
right to the
sell Bill
Pulitzer Committee.
Plaschke. And we are going to buy or sell this idea the Lakers lost luster with the Hurley spurning. Not yet, Bill Plaschke. Around the horn of Frank Isola.
Oh.
Well, I think that's great old-fashioned column writing by Bill, and he's excellent at it. I disagree because I do think, in this case, Danny Hurley, I think he had his heart set on staying at UConn. It is kind of remarkable that someone is turning down 6 years, $70 million to coach LeBron James. Maybe it's more a reflection of LeBron, also a bit of the Lakers. But Bill, he wanted to stay at UConn. They weren't going to convince him to leave.
So, buy or sell Bill Plaschke, Isola, you say?
I'm not buying it. I think every job is different in this situation.
Marcel Louis
Of course
Jacques,
he's
buy or
selling- of
sell
course
Bill
he's selling
Plaschke.
It's a top job.
I'm selling the allure of the Lakers, therefore I am buying. what Bill
Okay,
Plaschke
you got
is
one,
saying.
Bill.
I'm
Yes,
buying.
you.
Like, the pros are for everybody. All right, first of all, like some guys just want to coach college players, even as they're becoming more and more like pros. Some guys are meant for that, but I'm not putting much stock into that. I think the Lakers organization is relatively entitled considering the output they have had over the past, let's call it 10 years. Sure, you got the bubble championship, but this is like fans of Manchester United claiming, beating their chest over things that happened 20 years ago. Congrats on your FA Cup, on your little asterisk.
Wow,
but the
you went
output is not
Manchester
matching the brand.
United and you come. You always surprise me, Marcel. Very well done. Harry, buy or sell Bill Plaschke?
I'm buying that the luster is still there,
Yes.
but I'm also, can I buy this column? Because, hey, Bill Plaschke taught Kendrick Lamar hateration. He got it from our guy, okay? That's one thing. 2, highly recommend you
you
read this
go.
to the Nas Ether beat. It is artwork. 3, here's my thing with this entire deal, okay? The Lakers are not acting like they are the Lakers. They are not acting like they have that luster. If this is your first option, if this is your guy, the guy that has just won 2 national championships, who is treated like a god on the earth where he is at, where he is from, where his name holds all of the weight in the world, you have to give him an offer where he is at, where he is from, where his name holds all of the weight in the world. You have to give him an offer that he absolutely cannot refuse. Am I right, Tony? And if you do that, then at least you can make a guy like that consider it. But if you're not doing that, it's just not going to happen for you. So if you're not acting like the Lakers, you're not going to be able to pull the guy that you allegedly
And
want.
now Bill Plaschke.
I stand by my words. Every humiliation, every embarrassment. The bottom line is Dan Hurley came out to L.A., examined for himself, saw first person what the Lakers were like, saw everything about it, went home and said, no, I don't want to be there. I don't want to work there. I don't want to work for the most celebrated operation in professional basketball. Look for the Lakers. They couldn't get this guy 70. They guaranteed his future. They guaranteed his career. They guaranteed him everything.
Let me ask you this,
He didn't
Bill.
want any part of it.
If he
Wanted to
said
stay-
yes,
He wanted to stay in Connecticut.
would everything you felt about the Lakers previously be true? Would then the luster be there? If he just said yes, would they go back
I
to
was
winning
gonna write
immediately?
that.
Yes? That's all it would
Tony, I was
take.
gonna write the Lakers are back. The Lakers are still the Lakers. Yes, if you had said yes, I was gonna write that.
All right, we're moving on. I still can't mute you. Can't mute you. We're moving on. That was one story that needed a button on it. Here's another story that needs a button on it. Did USA Basketball get us to closure here with Caitlin Clark? It wasn't the purview of our committee to decide how many people would watch or how many people would root for the U.S. Jen Rizzotti on Team USA's criteria. Also, they cited that she has an experience or not the high-level reps that a roster player would need. Frank, do we have closure here?
No, I don't think we do. If you look at the mission statement of USA Basketball, it talks about promoting, growing, and elevating the game. How are you doing that and not having Caitlin Clark on the team? I've covered 2 Olympics. The women's sports, whether it's swimming, track and field, obviously the gymnastics, even the women's soccer team, always get more coverage. And listen, the basketball team is a victim of their own success. Nobody pays attention to it. Here's a chance to put a young player on it. The men's team did it with Tyrese Halliburton. Why can't the women do it? This is the player that should be on the team. They should get out of their little bubble, and that includes the coach, Cheryl Reeve. Get out of your little bubble and think a little bit bigger. How about that?
Marcel Louis Jacques. You can buy or sell Isola if you want. Or do we have closure here hearing from Team USA today?
I'm of the opinion that the Olympics is not a time to grow the game. The Olympics is a time to win. It's a time to beat other countries. And Team USA is a powerhouse. If they feel like they've put a winner together without Caitlin Clark, then I am inclined to believe that they know what they're doing. Not to mention, the international game is traditionally a lot more physical. Caitlin Clark is still getting used to the physicality of the WNBA. Let her get used to that. Let her build some equity there. And then in 2028, when it's on home soil, it'll be an explosion with her, Angel Reese, and Cameron Brink. But for now,
Harry
leave it
Lyles
alone.
Jr. to Team USA give us closure here for this national debate.
I think it's good that they came out and said this
Yeah.
because it is about the basketball. I understand their mission statement and all this type of stuff like that. And sure, it would have been great if she was on the team. Would people that are new to women's basketball, which I think that's the important qualifier here, that is who you would be bringing in, would they have watched then perhaps? But if you look at this roster, I would love to know who you would take off of it, though. It's an extremely talented roster.
Diana Taurasi.
is not even on
Frank
it.
Scott, Frank has a nomination already.
Nah, man. See, I wouldn't even do that either. But my thing is, though, the thing that is also important about this that is different, at least as it pertains to men's basketball, is we don't have to beg these women to come out and play. Every few years after the U.S. men lose to some team that they have no business losing to, then they all show up. The women don't do that. They come out and
Bill
play.
Plaschke.
The Dream Team was sent over in 1992 to help grow the game. That is their mission. They are derelict in their mission here. This is wrong. I've been to 10 Olympics. I've covered maybe 2 or 3 women's basketball games. We're so dominant. Nobody cares. Nobody watches. It's not a big deal. We're not growing the game. We're not spreading the word.
Can
to the rest
you
of the
grow
world.
the game by winning gold for an 8th year in a row, Frank Isola, which is what's on the table for this team?
And Bill's 100% right. That's what makes it tough about it. You know, and remember, if she goes there, she's going to be playing with other great players. She doesn't exactly have them on her Indiana team. And where's all the outrage of Jaylen Brown not making the men's team over Tyrese
All right,
Halliburton?
let's not what about other stories here. Can we just stay on
that's what it
topic
is.
here? That's what this topic needs more than any other. Harry
The
Lyles
point is,
Just very, how interested though are we in growing the game if you're not willing to watch it if one person's not there? I'm not saying that it wouldn't be interesting if she wasn't there or it was there or whatever, but if you're truly interested in growing the game, you will just invest
and
in
Frank,
it, period.
back to you.
but I understand what everyone's saying. There are great players, but the idea of every national team in every sport is to get some younger players on. Claudia Reyna, as a college senior, made the World Cup team in '94. They wanted to add younger players to the roster. Putting her on there, if she plays 5 or 10 minutes, it's good for the team, it's good for the sport, it's good for the WNBA. I thought that was everyone's mission to begin with. Why wouldn't you have her on the team? The all-time leading scorer in NCAA tournament.
The main
NCAA
argument
history.
here is the main argument here is put her on the team so that people will watch, not put her on the team because she deserves to be on the team. Like,
Yeah.
So I asked,
isn't
was
that a
there
problem?
closure?
Deserves
Clearly,
it.
there's not
That's
closure.
part of the
We're not
deal.
even done with this. We're talking Indiana Fever in the next segment. We're talking Lynx and Aces tonight in the next segment, but Harry Lyles and Frank Isola will not be there. Unmuted today.
Mute me, you won't do it.
Plaschke, Louis Jacques. Shut up next. Sun dominating the Fever again. Indy getting cooked again. While you look at some of these lowlights, Caitlin Clark airball from 8 feet in this game, and Dejanay Carrington stripping her again, and Alyssa Thomas wrestled the ball away. Listen to Coach Christy Size.
You can't at this level coach effort. I felt like we were just trying to ask them to keep playing hard. You can't start there. You can't play in this league if that's what you have to coach effort.
So that was why she benched the team in the second half. You can't coach effort. There's not enough effort. How do you hear that, Bill Plaschke?
I heard that she's not too worried about her job security if she's benching Caitlin Clark. She's in trouble. She's shown too it. She's pushing the panic button. This team has the toughest schedule in the WNBA. They play more games than anybody else except the Liberty in the WNBA. They need a break. She should cut them some slack.
Marcel?
To borrow a line from Julius Campbell, attitude reflects leadership. She doesn't sound, if your team's not playing hard, it sounds like you are not motivating them to play hard. They have had to play the Sun and the Liberty 6 times compared to 7 games against any other team, but you got to show more fight than that. But it starts up top, Tony.
Showdown 2, Aces Lynx tonight. Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collier, pin that for MVP conversation later. Kayla McBride's on a heater coming into this as well. Minnesota has jumped Vegas in the standings. The champs on a losing streak. A quarter of their roster just made Team USA, which is, of course, an amazing thing. Who does tonight mean more for, Marcel?
I'm gonna go with Vegas with the Aces. Asia Wilson is putting up early 2000 Shaq numbers right now. You talk about growing the game. More eyes need to be on what she's doing. They're getting Jackie Young back. It can move Kate Martin back to the bench, where she's been a pleasant surprise her rookie year. Aces win tonight.
Flashkey?
As the only panelist who has watched the Aces last game in person against the Sparks, they're a mess. Without Jackie Young, they were hurting. They have got to win this game. Becky Hammond's losing.
This is a must-win game for the defending
It's a must-win game for
two-time defending champs. Wow.
I see it in person.
Bill, I love you. Never change. You're not getting FaceTime, but never change.
Oh, come on.
Marcel, take it.
Oh, Tiger Woods says that he is feeling strong enough to win this weekend's U.S. Open tournament. And I'd love to hear that from him, because it's been a miserable performance for him ever since that car accident in 2021. He's missed 4 cuts over the past 2 years, and he's finished 47th and 66th at the Masters that he has been able to finish. I, as well as a lot of 30-year-old males like me, will root for Tiger Woods until the day I die. But I'm at the very least conscious of the fact that he is probably never winning another major. But we still got your back, Tiger.
Thank you, Marcel. All right. Maybe if I just escort a mute. Kindly. Oh, it works again. Oh, there it is. Oh, I love